Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Foxworth Theory. I am your host, Eugenia Foxworth, and we've got a fantastic show actually lined up today for you. This show is about art, entertainment, fashion, and business. And we will interview the movers and the shakers worldwide, and we will allow them to tell their stories. Souleo curates entertaining and informative events, exhibitions, and cultural programs. He has collaborated with noteworthy institutions and brands, including the New York Public Library, the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, the Museum of Arts and Design, Columbia University, Barnard College, New York Museum of Arts, Leslie Lohman Museum of Art, and AARP. Souleo's work has been widely covered in outlets, including the Associated Press, the New York Times, the New Yorker, NBC, and more. Please join me to welcome Souleo. And I hope I'm saying your name correctly. It's unusual and very artistic. Please welcome Souleo to the Foxworth Theory.
Thank you for having me. You can say it's Souleo.
Souleo.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Where were you born and where were you raised?
Yeah, so I'm a native New Yorker, like the disco song. So I'm a rare breed because there's not a lot of natives. So I was born in Washington Heights and raised partially in Washington Heights and then Harlem.
And you were in Harlem.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, I love Harlem. And I spend a lot of time in Harlem. My office is in Harlem.
Great.
So that's a village that never quits.
Yes.
So why is art so passionate to you?
Art in all of its disciplines is important to me because it's about expression. That's how I first learned to express myself, was creatively. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a photographer and then a writer. And then I got into the visual art after the passing of my brother, Glenn Spoof Wright. He was murdered, and so he was an artist at the time. And when he was creating art, I didn't pay much attention to it. I knew he did it, but it wasn't until he passed and then I met my partner, Bo McCall, who's an artist. And I was like, wow, I have these two artists around me. I'd love to, create a platform for them. And that's how I sort of fell into curating.
So what noteworthy brands and institutions have you collaborated with, or they with you?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned a lot of them at the top. I've been fortunate to work with the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture for several different projects. So that's been a long running relationship. And then Newark Arts. So the exhibition, Dionne Warwick, Queen of Twitter, is the second project that I'm doing with Newark Arts. And it's always a pleasure working with them. They're so passionate about the Newark art scene, and I love being able to be immersed in that community.
Okay, and what exactly is here I go butchering your name again, the Souleo enterprise?
It's pretty much everything that I do as a one-man band. So whether it's events or public programs or exhibitions, writing, it just houses all of my creative enterprises.
Well, how does it function?
Through me.
Oh,
So, so, you know, all through me, whatever opportunities come my way or that I actively pursue. Yeah.
well, this is very interesting because if it's all through you, you are really rocking because in this day and age, to have an artist that has maintained, I salute you.
Thank you.
And so you actually interviewed Donda West, the late mother of rapper Kanye West. What was that like?
You know, I was a college student at the time, and when I interviewed her, you know, I was excited to interview her. She's the mother of Kanye West, superstar. I had, you know, it was the last interview she did, and 2 days later she passed. So it was just really cool to speak to her, to learn about who she was, sort of the woman behind the man, because she managed him. And she was just so warm and just lovely. And you can tell the love that she had for her son. Um, so yeah, to have the last interview with her before she passed, I felt a responsibility to make sure that that was represented in the right hands and got with the right publication. And so Sister to Sister magazine published the interview in full, which I was grateful for, because there were other outlets that wanted it, but they wanted to, you know, make it 300 words or something. Like, no, this is someone's mother. It's her last words. It needs to all be laid out.
How did you meet her? I mean, this
You
is
know,
so
I did.
interesting.
Yeah, so I did college radio. So I was a journalist before getting into art. So I did college radio at Brown University. And I believe the interview was for the radio, for my radio show at the time. But then when it came out that she passed, I said, well, no, I would like to get in a bigger platform so more people can listen, experience it, you know, hear the interview, read it. So yeah, I think I just reached out to her. I'm not sure exactly how or through whom, but she responded, or her team responded and said, sure, I'll do an interview for a college radio station.
Oh, that's great. And what year was this? I mean, your year, were you a senior, a junior, a freshman?
Oh God, I'm reaching that age where I'm starting not to remember these things.
Careful.
Yeah, so I think I was maybe a sophomore, I think. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
no,
something on
maybe it
TV
was.
for remembering.
Yeah, I know. I think it was my last year actually, because my mom passed the same year, I believe. And so that was even more important for me to make sure Donda's words were remembered, you know, in a beautiful way, because I had just lost my mom. So yeah, I think it was a senior.
Okay, so how did the death of Donda West impact you?
You know, I didn't know her personally, so you know, I can't say that, you know, personally it directly impacted me, but of course, just knowing that, you know, someone lost their life is always sad, and then the way that it happened was unfortunate, of course. And then, you know, losing my mom in the same year, you know, it just, yeah, it just made me reflect on the importance of mothers and how important they are to our lives and our upbringing. So, yeah.
Thank you. So who has been the most exciting interview you've had?
Um, I think I loved interviewing Sarah Dash and Melvin Van Peebles. And those are two people who passed recently. And Melvin was so funny and kooky and just, you know, Mr. Rebel. So I love that. And Sarah was so warm. Again, sort of reminded me of my mom, had a very warm and motherly energy to her. So yeah, I, you know, miss them both.
Okay, so tell me a little about On the A with Souleo, a new venture you have embarked on?
So that's from my journalism days when I used to, I had a syndicated column that ran on about 7 outlets. So it ran on Huffington Post and Ebony and Soul Train and Amsterdam News and Rolling Out. So it was syndicated and I would cover arts and culture in New York City and beyond. So it was a great way for me to, spotlight emerging talent as well as more established stars and projects. So it was fun until I got tired of it, tired of meeting deadlines, and didn't want that in my life anymore.
Are you a Gemini?
No, I'm July 23rd, so I'm on the cusp. I'm a Cancer Leo.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And I'm sorry I didn't meet you running around Harlem.
Yeah.
Did you? Yes, I would have loved to have met you then. So, what is it about the world of entertainment that excites you and makes you want to dive into it as a journalist?
So at the time when I was a journalist, it excited me because it was creativity. Again, it's the arts, it's the creative arts, and I always love the expression, the freedom that you find in that, from literature to movies to visual art. So yeah, it was just exciting. And then sometimes as you can attest, you have these red carpet events. If you get invited to the after party, it's fun having the free food, and so it's a little fun sometimes.
Right. Well, since you are such a diversified individual at artists, but most artists are. You just let yours out and then you toss it away when you get bored. What do you love most about what you do?
What I love most is being able to celebrate people. And that's why I'm so excited with the Dionne Warwick Queen of Twitter exhibition, because we get to celebrate Miss Warwick, and being able to celebrate her and also deliver a message through the exhibition, and then being able to give a platform for artists as well. I think it's just the best of all of those worlds. So I just, yeah.
You are renewing the relationship with those of us who know of the legends, and you're bringing in a fresh look together with it.
Yeah, because I didn't want to, do like a full out retrospective exhibition about her life. I mean, the Grammy Museum, can do that, much better than I could with their resources. But I wanted to come at it from a fresh angle. And the theme of Newark Arts Festival this year is creative resilience, how we use creativity to surmount life's obstacles and imagine better futures. And Ms. Warwick exemplified that on her Twitter page, because everyone loved the humor, the sassiness, and the inspirational tweets during the COVID-19 pandemic and the civil unrest. So she used that as a way to uplift others. And of course, throughout her career, she has always, through music and charitable endeavors, uplifted people. So I think it was a nice way to come at her legacy. And I think it'll appeal to an intergenerational audience, especially a new generation who may not be as familiar as they should be with her legacy.
And I think that is very commendable of you for even doing this. I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm looking at your style and I'm thinking, oh, and then I listened to you. I said, he's an old soul, but he's got so many dimensions. Now, when interviewing someone, are there boundaries for you, or are all bets on the table?
I'm not like the gossip blogger. Like, that was never my angle. I started writing for Sister to Sister magazine, and Jamie Foster Brown, I sort of followed her model, where, she didn't have to take sort of a salacious or any sort of sensational. She didn't have to take a sensational angle. It was more about just coming at the person from a human perspective, you know, and tapping and just being human with them and having humility. And so that's what I try to do. Unfortunately, that worked, where a lot of interviews, they were able to open up to me and share things that they might not have had I come from a sensational perspective, you know?
Well, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Miss Brown. I do know her personally.
Yeah.
And she is a real person and,
Yeah.
and a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, I have to do the one thing that most of us do, but before that, now I'll wait for the break because I'm jumping the gun. No, not really. I think I really have to do the break. I'll have to come back to you. So stay tuned. The Foxworth Theory will be back and we will be joining Souleo. Please come back. Thank you.
Welcome to a place where a new chapter in life begins with a dream, where mentors for a lifetime stand before us, but their lessons stay with us forever. Welcome to a place where students meet Madame Curie, M.C. Escher, and Henry David Thoreau, and prepare to make their own marks on history. Welcome to the place where graduates become heroes for the community, and good things happen to people who earn them. Welcome to a whole new world, one student at a time. Welcome to Collin College.
Hello, welcome back to the Foxworth Theory. And we are with our guest, Souleo, and Lavett Ballard has just joined us. So welcome, Lavett, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a visual artist, author, curator, educator. I work in mixed media collage as my main format that I work in. I Also do some sculptural work, installation, performance art on occasion. And that's pretty much my life.
Yes, but I do understand, having read things about you. You were a Yaddo artist, and you were in a line, I mean, which I think is phenomenal, with some very famous individuals. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, for those that aren't in the arts, Yaddo is one of the very first artist residencies founded here in the United States. This residency is for artists working in visual arts like myself, literary artists, theater arts, musical arts, mostly are those that apply to this program. It is a very difficult application process, very stringent with who they choose. They choose anywhere from 10 to up to a maximum of 30 attendees per season. They have at least up to 3,000 to 5,000 applicants every quarter. So it was very much an honor to be chosen. Some of the most esteemed people who went that many of your audience would know would be the visual artist Jacob Lawrence, the writer and director Truman Capote, and one of my favorite alumni, which would be James Baldwin. So I was in very good company among now being an alumni of the program.
Well, this I know is an honor. I was waiting for you to say Baldwin, but there's a list that we would be on the phone for
Ever.
forever and ever. And they're incredible. Now, you were also, tell me, you were awarded the Emerging Artist of 2020.
Yes, yes.
Okay, talk about that.
The Black Art in America, which is one of the premier Black art newsletter, websites, forums for the Black arts, chose me among 10 others as one of the top emerging artists of the year. I was very much shocked and surprised and very much honored. The other artists that I had looked at and admired myself were now being said in the same breath as my own. So that was really, a biggie for me. You get a lot of attention to yourself that you weren't quite ready for. So it was a big leap in my visual artist career.
And I've seen your art, and it's quite interesting how you have done the collages. That's the old person saying collages. I know there's a new name, but it's still collages, but they're
It's collage. It's still
Thank you.
collage.
Oh, thank you, because someone said, no, that's not. I said, yes, it is.
It's still collage.
Yes, and the history that you've woven together is just, it's really wonderful. And
thank you very much. History, especially art history, is very important to me. And when I decided to work with this particular medium, some people call it mixed media arts because you're mixing collage and paint. In my case, I'm also doing some sculptural elements. I was looking back at people like W.E.B. Du Bois, who I admire so much in his writings, and how we have to pay homage to the past to appreciate the present. And we have to always uplift ourselves. So any chance or opportunity I'm given to uplift people of color, especially women of color, I'm going to be first in line to do.
Thank you. I'm just going to sidestep and give you a little commercial. She also does fences. She paints on the fences.
Yeah,
I know too much. I got it. I just love it. So I have a question. What is your partnership, the partnership between you and Souleo on the Dionne Warwick project?
Well, I was connected with Souleo through my PR person, Good Girl PR, and a mutual friend, Lauren. And I had known of Souleo's work for quite a few years. We kind of swim in the same circle. One of his artists that he works with is my mentor, Diane Smith. And so when I was given the opportunity to apply to the Dionne Warwick project, it came to me like what I would do, like immediate. So it was one of my easiest proposals to write, mainly because of our connections between myself and Miss Warwick. When the idea of taking her tweets and choosing one, it was, first of all, very difficult because she is hilarious. She's so real, as most Jersey girls are. And she's blatantly honest, truthful, very transparent. And considering I work with history, it was very easy to kind of pick which one that I chose. So yeah, that was really what was the driving force to connect me with this project, and it's been a pleasure working on it.
Mhm. And Lavett, in doing this project with Souleo, what did you learn about Dionne Warwick that fascinated you?
Well, like I said, we're both Jersey girls. Uh, I I think what I learned the most is how much a lot of things I've experienced here in New Jersey, and when I used to live as a girl in North Jersey, we both experienced. We both kind of grew up in the church at one point, and she still, is very much in the church. I am also. My husband's a minister. Uh, the fact that her first experience singing was in the church, my first artistic experience was in the church. The fact that she has a lot of connections in East Orange, where I was born. I was born at East Orange General Hospital. And, I remember my aunt even telling me how everyone had a crush on her brother, who sadly was killed in a tragic car accident years ago. How much she had a crush on him and how charismatic he was. And she really connected with her because they went to the same high school, and everyone said, "Oh, Dionne," she was like the homegirl, done good. So those were some of the main things that I feel really felt connection there with us.
Thank you. Now, this is a question for both of you. What do you want people to walk away with after seeing this project for Dionne Warwick? For both of you.
Well, for me, I just want you to kind of experience the same thing I did, to see that we're all connected. Whether she's a celebrity who lives in a big house on the hill, or, is being viewed by millions, billions of people, has this celebrity. She went through a lot of the same experiences that many of us have also gone through. She's had great gains and successes. She's had loss. She's seen what's going on around her. She's experienced history. She's made history. So when you look at my installation, I want you to see those connections and take them home with you and get yourself a little closer to her, just as you're learning about yourself.
And Souleo?
Yeah, I hope people, leave inspired to learn more about Miss Warwick, leave inspired to use their platform, whether it be social media or the arts, to uplift, educate, and unite people. And leave inspired to really tap more into the Newark art scene. It's such a vibrant community. And so we definitely want to amplify that as well.
So the Newark art scene is quite vibrant now.
Yeah, it's been vibrant for a while, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I know, but I mean, I'm just thinking even at this, with the COVID and everything, it's because I get emails and there's a lot going on there. Now, Lavett, you've already said what basically things about Miss Warwick, but what does the legacy of Miss Warwick mean to you besides the
to me personally, that even, as we get older, life isn't over. She's kind of had this renewed interest in her through her Twitter account, that even in my own visual arts circle, I look at other artists that never got the credit they deserved, getting their credit late in life. Even myself, I'm considered, kind of a Black unicorn. I'm kind of older to be in the art world doing what I'm doing at this point and doing it full time. So just being inspired to just be your authentic self and, don't give up, keep persevering and realize that life has got a whole bunch of ups and downs. And as long as you're true, own your truth, you're going to be able to be successful in whatever you do. And success doesn't always have to be monetary. It doesn't always have to be with how many likes you get. If you reach one person with what you do, you're successful.
I'm in total agreement. That is something, because I'm a mentor, and I say just one person, because that person spreads it all. Now, what is the most important thing in life that you want to do that you have not done? I mean, you're young, so you have lots of years ahead. What is it?
I have a bucket list. I have a bucket list. I have so many things I still want to do. A lot of things that are coming about or working towards it. I want more work in Europe. I want more of my work to be seen in more larger institutions of art. I think back to my first experience seeing art, which was in the Newark Museum of Art. And I never knew that Black people did art until I went to the Newark Museum of Art. I had heard about them, but I had never actually seen it in person. So that's very important to me, to have my work held in, museum and institutional collections. It's not necessarily to be in celebrity homes. It's more or less just to be seen, just have people really see what I do. As you mentioned, I work on fences. And the point of me working on fences is because as a people, we've been kept out for so long, looking from the outside in. And sometimes that we don't realize that the outside is also looking at us. So the symbolic reference of my fences is really something I think should be seen more. And so just to be seen.
It's a powerful statement. And I used to always tell my living artists, because I did a lot of dead artists, to keep your art on the wall. And historically, artists have told the stories, the history, etc. Now, what are you most proud of?
Personally, my kids, my granddaughter, my husband, my family. Professionally, I think the biggest moment for me was when I made a work of art for the Time magazine cover, which was huge. And I have to sometimes, when I'm feeling like, oh, I'm not getting, enough seen and enough work, or I don't have enough likes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media I'm looking at. And then I have to say, but all these other people, how many of them have a piece of work that's been on the cover of Time magazine?
On March 2020, no less.
Yes.
Okay.
During
Yes,
a pandemic.
Yes, March 2020. When I tell people to speak about themselves, I really mean that you should do that, because if you don't, nobody else will. So Souleo, where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, good. If you were not a journalist and doing what you do, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm no longer a journalist. I gave that up a few years ago.
Excuse me, I apologize. You gave it up completely.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you just set it aside momentarily.
I intended to set it aside momentarily, and then I never went back. So,
okay.
I'm not saying I'll never, do journalism again, but as of now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing in terms of curating, which is like a catch-all for, me producing events and exhibitions, and whatnot. So
tell me about it. Tell our audience, not everything, because I want to go home tonight, but some things, you know, just what you're doing, and would you like to, since you put the journalism aside and you're now doing the exhibitions, etc. You know, maybe there's something else that you haven't done, just like Lavett has a bucket list. Can you tell me?
yeah, I think, you know, I'd love to live in another place or country for at least a year and see what it's like. Maybe Johannesburg or London or something like that. But outside of that, I think definitely I agree with Lavett in terms of just you want to continuously elevate your career and your platform and reach larger and bigger platforms, just because that means you have visibility with more people, right? Because you want to share your message and work as large as possible. And then also the legacy building, you know, it's so important that we document our work, preserve it. So I'm working a lot on that as well.
Okay, so how have you been able to keep yourself busy and stay focused on the work and not the play? You're so young. You could be partying your life away, but you seem to be very focused. But I still think you're partying.
No, well, you have to live life. I love to dance. So, you know, you have to make time for the things you enjoy. It's about balance. I'm sorry, what was the question? How am I?
How are you? You look focused. So what have you been able to keep? How have you been able to keep yourself busy and stay focused on the work and not just playing? When I say playing, that means enjoying yourself because you're so young.
You know, I think it's about my upbringing. You know, my mom instilled values and my dad instilled values of, you know, hard work and I think that just stayed with me. So I'm disciplined in that way, but I'm also balanced. So I try to make as much time for play as I can. And when you enjoy what you do, when you're passionate about it, it sort of naturally stays with you, you know, naturally motivates you, as long as you don't have to deal with too many of the crazy politics involved in any industry. So yeah.
Just don't go into politics and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Although I've been seeing a lot of artwork lately that's as usual. I mean, it goes back to the 20s of the artists that are doing a lot of political things. I mean, you can look at artwork and say, knew where he was, knew what he read, and so forth, or he or she, whatever. And getting back to what Lavett said, she did not know. Well, we have a lot of artists that go back to the 1900s, and women, they picketed the one of the museums here in New York to get more women into the museums. So I'm listening to the two of you, and I'm just like, my heart is like just going out to both of you, and I'm just thanking you. But I, at the moment, have to go to take a commercial break. So please stay with us on the Foxworth Theory, and we will be back shortly.
When we felt like we didn't have anything, it was music that gave us a voice. We could tell each other in a song what we couldn't say in words. Learning music changed us, making us even smarter. We learned to harmonize together. And now we can go anywhere our dreams take us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foxworth Theory and to Souleo and Lavett Ballard, two amazing young rising stars, or shall I say they are there, but they're continuing to move. So at this time, I have a question, of course. What do you want the world to know most about you? Either one of you can answer this. Both of you, I mean, whenever you want.
I can start. I say, I just want them to know about my work. I think through my work, you can learn about me, but it's really about the work that I put out, with the exhibitions and even the previous journalism stuff. Yeah, I think you can learn a lot through the work.
Lavett?
Same thing I teach my kids, there's never too late. I went to school and got a undergrad degree, two master's degrees. Later in my life, I had already doing this while I was a mother with a toddler, a kid, and a teenager, and a husband at home. And I'm still doing all of this. It's never too late. Follow your dreams and realize that just like in your dreams, sometimes you can have a little bit of nightmares in there, learn from them and keep going. I think that's the most important thing that I want to leave behind. And know your history. That's even in my work. I'm always talking about the history. Know your history and don't be afraid of it, and own your history, whether it's good or bad, own it. We as a people, sometimes you have to own the good things with the bad and realize that that's what made you what you are and what brought you to where you're at. So yeah, know you.
Thank you. And I'm not letting you out of this, Souleo. I saw you disappear briefly.
Yes. I don't know, I think I answered. I did answer the question, right?
What would you like to change?
Oh, what would I like to change? About
Yeah,
what?
if you could change anything in the world,
Oh.
what would you like to change? What would it be?
Well, I would change something about our system. The capitalist system just needs a lot of change. There needs to be a greater balance of support for the people, greater redistribution of power and wealth. So, these are things that are like, I'm starting to like wrestle with and think about more deeply. So I can't fully like articulate exactly, but I just know that I think as we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, as it highlighted, the way things are not really sustainable. They're not great for a lot of people. A lot of people are suffering economically and things. So I think changing that is really important. Yeah.
I think your articulation was spot on.
Thank you.
So, getting back to both of you, how can people follow you? And what are you doing on social media? Now, don't do a tug of war to see who's going first.
Well, I'm not doing TikTok dances, but you can follow me on probably IG is the best place to follow me. So that's at Souleo Universe, SOULEO Universe. And I just, share a lot of information about my various projects.
Yeah, for me, it's basically Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook sometimes. Instagram, you can follow me on Lavett Ballard Art. And I do have some TikToks, no dancing. No. don't do the dancing. But basically the same as Souleo. I'm majority on Instagram. I mean, it's all about the photos. It's all about the imagery. So that's really the best forum for me as a visual artist. Personally, my kids, my granddaughter, my husband, my family. Professionally, I think the biggest moment for me was when I made a work of art for the Time magazine cover, which was huge. You know, and I have to sometimes, when I'm feeling like, oh, I'm not getting, you know, enough seen and enough work, or I don't have enough likes on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media I'm looking at. And then I have to say, but all these other people, how many of them have a piece of work that's been on the cover of Time magazine?
On March 2020, no less.
Yes.
Okay.
During
Yes,
a pandemic.
Yes, March 2020. When I tell people to speak about themselves, I really mean that you should do that, because if you don't, nobody else will. So Souleo,
Yes.
where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, good. If you were not a journalist and doing what you do, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm no longer a journalist. I gave that up a few years ago.
Excuse me, I apologize. You gave it up completely.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you just set it aside momentarily.
I intended to set it aside momentarily, and then I never went back. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm not saying I'll never, you know, do journalism again, but as of now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing in terms of curating, which is like a catch-all for, you know, me producing events and exhibitions and whatnot. So
tell me about it. Tell our audience, not everything, because I want to go home tonight, but some things, you know, just what you're doing, and would you like to, since you put the journalism aside and you're now doing the exhibitions, etc., you know, maybe there's something else that you haven't done, just like Lavett has a bucket list. Can you tell me?
yeah, I think, you know, I'd love to live in another place or country for at least a year and see what it's like. Maybe Johannesburg or London or something like that. But outside of that, I think definitely I agree with Lavett in terms of just, you want to continuously elevate your career and your platform and reach larger and bigger platforms, just because that means you have visibility with more people, right? Because you want to share your message and work as large as possible. And then also the legacy building, you know, it's so important that we document our work, preserve it. So I'm working a lot on that as well.
Okay, so how have you been able to keep yourself busy and stay focused on the work and not the play? You're so young. You could be partying your life away, but you seem to be very focused. But I still think you're partying.
No, well, you have to live life. I love to dance. So, you know, you have to make time for the things you enjoy. It's about balance. I'm sorry, what was the question? How am I?
How are you? You look focused. So what have you been able to keep? How have you been able to keep yourself busy and stay focused on the work and not just playing? When I say playing, that means enjoying yourself, because you're so young.
You know, I think it's about my upbringing. You know, my mom instilled values and my dad instilled values of, you know, hard work, and I think that just stayed with me. So I'm disciplined in that way, but I'm also balanced. So I try to make as much time for play as I can. And when you enjoy what you do, when you're passionate about it, it sort of naturally stays with you, you know, naturally motivates you, as long as you don't have to deal with too many of the crazy politics involved in any industry. So yeah.
Just don't go into politics and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Although I've been seeing a lot of artwork lately that's as usual. I mean, it goes back to the 20s of the artists that are doing a lot of political things. I mean, you can look at artwork and say, knew where he was, knew what he read, and so forth, or he or she, whatever. And getting back to what Lavett said, she did not know. Well, we have a lot of artists that go back to the 1900s, and women, they picketed the one of the museums here in New York to get more women into the museums. So I'm listening to the two of you, and I'm just like, my heart is like just going out to both of you, and I'm just thanking you. But I, at the moment, have to go to take a commercial break. So please stay with us on the Foxworth Theory, and we will be back shortly. Well, I thank you both, and Souleo, I apologize, but I was following your name, I thought, phonetically. But I finally got it right. And I'm sure everybody else in the listening audience got it right as well, because they're saying, my God, can't she get it together? And Lavett, I thank you for being on as well. I thank you both. I'm looking forward to when the project is completed. And I would love to come, of course I will. And I'd like to thank our audience for being here and watching the Foxworth and listening to the Foxworth Theory. I look forward to you tuning in. We're on every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd like to thank my team. I'd like to thank the Harlem America Digital Network and the Voice America. Thank you all. Travel safely, be well, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Teresa Smith, the Associate Dean of Graduate Medical Education at SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University. There's a lot of misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccine, so it's critical that you get the facts from sources you can trust. Here's one misconception, that the vaccine will alter your DNA. This is false. The current vaccines are mRNA vaccines, which provide a genetic code for your body to produce a protein. In this case, the COVID spike. Once that genetic code is done producing the COVID spike protein, it's eventually degraded by your body, and therefore it does not stick around, and it cannot change your DNA. The ultimate goal is to have your body develop an immune system response to those COVID spikes by forming antibodies against it. With this immune system memory, every time your body sees COVID, you will have fighter antibodies that remember the COVID spikes. This will protect you from getting lethally sick. That's the truth. The COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best chances at protecting ourselves and getting back to normal. So before you make up your mind, know your facts.